Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about the cheapest places to rent in London.
So we got quite a good response from our last renting video, so this time we decided to pick 3 areas where you can find the cheapest rent.
Now the areas on this video are going to be around central London, or at least within easy tube access to central London. Now if you Google cheapest places to live in London, it will come up with some places which are absolute miles away, like Barking, or places really south, and that's not really London. Obviously, the further away you go from London, the cheaper it's going to be, but we're talking about places where you can get into very central London with like a 20-minute tube. So that's the kind of area we're going to be looking at.
So the first place that we're going to look at is the Harringay Warehouse District, and it's quite close to where we live, so I hope you enjoy our little tour we took of it.
What do you think of the warehouse district?
Yeah, it's cool. There's lots of graffiti everywhere, which is cool.
If you're into that. Now, as you can see from our map, this area looks pretty north for London. Doesn't look like it's near the centre, but actually it is right next to Manor House tube station, which is 20 minutes from central London. In fact, it's sort of 10 minutes to King's Cross, which some people think is central, or it's 20 minutes to Piccadilly, which is definitely central. And it's definitely on the cheap side. Now, this area isn't for everyone because most of the accommodation is in warehouses, but it's actually pretty cool. My sister lives in one of them, and basically it's like a warehouse, as you saw, with 8 or 9 rooms, and you just rent out one of the rooms, and it's cheap. It's like £400 to £500 per month, depending on the room, which for where it's located is not too bad at all.
So there are a couple of pubs and bars within the warehouse district, so you have a real sense of community. And from what Jonty's sister has said, you have a rave pretty much every weekend that you can go to. So if you love partying, this is a great place.
Now, the cheapest area of London is undeniably the east. That is traditionally the less wealthy part, and it's had quite a bit of development recently, but it's still actually fairly cheap.
So one of the cheap areas is Bromley-By-Bow, and it will roughly take you about 15 to 20 minutes to get to Liverpool Street on the tube.
The good thing about Bromley-By-Bow is there's lots of new build flats. So if you want somewhere quite modern but also quite cheap, then this is definitely one of the best places to be in London. Prices for these flats range from £500 to £650. For R1 we paid £550 each per month, and it was really nice. So for a central-ish location, and a really nice apartment. Bromley-By-Bow is a great place to be.
So by Bromley-By-Bow, they also have the DLR, which is an overground train type thing, which can take you straight to Canary Wharf, where there's loads of restaurants, and also Stratford, where Westfield is.
Now, if you're looking for somewhere general in London that's cheap, you can always look south of the river. Not right south by the Thames, but a bit further south, you are going to find cheap accommodation. Or if you want to be by the Thames, then Greenwich is a great option.
So if you work somewhere like Canary Wharf, then it is quite close there. But if you're working in Liverpool Street area, it'll probably take you around 25 to 30 minutes to get there.
So it's kind of debatable whether this can be classed as central London, but particularly if you work in Canary Wharf, then it's pretty central. As you can see from these photos, it has some awesome green spaces and it overlooks Canary Wharf, really beautiful part of London, and the prices are very cheap. We have friends who are starting to buy houses in Greenwich, and we have friends that have rented in Greenwich for a long time, so we know it's definitely value for money. So moving back up north, another really cheap area is Kentish Town. This is only 15 minutes to Piccadilly Circus, central London, and it is right next to Camden, which is a really cool part of London.
So as you can see from the images in Kentish Town, the flats aren't quite as modern, they're a bit more traditional and Victorian looking.
Now, the rent in Kentish Town is a bit more expensive than some of the other areas on our list. Rent per room probably £600 to £700 on average, I believe. But again, it is closer to central than any of the places we've talked about. So if you want somewhere that's still nice and still fairly cheap, but really, really central, then Kentish Town is a great place to be.
So that's it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and until next time,
See ya.